People Will Talk is the story of Cary Grant. He's a doctor, and he's not a doctor like the others. He wants to treat the whole mind, body, the soul, and he has an early patient, Jean Crane, a young woman who finds herself pregnant, and significantly for 1951, pregnant and unmarried. And to Dr. Pretorius, that's Cary Grant's name, that is not a circumstance which he is concerned with, except, and I think significantly, he doesn't ignore it. He knows that it puts her in a difficult situation, but he offers zero judgment.
And the side stories are so wild.
Yeah, there's a character played by Finley Curry who's sort of Cary Grant's
guardian angel.
His guardian. And he's a mysterious character.
Yes.
And becomes a big part of the story. And his relationship with Walter Slasak, who's another professor at this medical school.
Would we see this film made today?
Oh, my goodness, no. Maybe as a series, right, of this sort of radical doctor. I mean, it's sort of House, you know, a little, maybe.
Yeah.
Sort of an unconventional doctor doing things his way. But he's still Cary Grant, and he's still entirely disarming and consistently charming, and I think Jean Crane is very strong.
What about the father, who just has that amazing scene where he says, I've failed at everything I've done, I'm a loser, I can't make money, I'm a dependent?
Yeah, Sidney Blackmer plays Jean Crane's father. He's wonderful in his sort of acceptance that he thought he was going to be something great, like Dr. Pretorius, someone bold and great, and it didn't work out.
The beauty of that, for me, was that it makes her story absolutely, it kind of rectifies her story. Because at first you think it's sick. You know, she has a terrible father. If she can't tell her father.
Tell him the truth, right.
He'll be but then when you hear his predicament and how honest he is and how loving he is towards her, it's all okay. It's
because her decision is she's doing this because she wants to protect her father.
Yes, it's just humans.
He's had too many blows in his life. I can't add this blow to him. And Cary Grant intervenes and becomes Cary Grant. There's a lot of course, he knows best because he's the doctor and she's just a young woman. But that said, for 1951, pretty forward thinking, I think.
But what comes across is his absolute kind of respect for women.
That's what I mean. Yeah, he's doing it, but he's got complete respect for her.
Yeah.
He's really looking out.
She's damaged by something, and he senses that.
Yeah, and it's almost as if he recognizes the time that she is living in and what the pressures will be in being a woman with an unwanted or unexpected pregnancy in early 1950, and accepts that and then tries to help her. Like, you know.
But also so incredible, the direction, and I do believe it's direction, although I think Cary Grant had charm to spare.
Have you any idea why you fainted? Have you ever fainted before? How do you feel?
Silly.
Now, you better tell a doctor about this. There may be a reason. Can you get up now? Good. Perhaps you better go somewhere and relax. You go with her. And, you know, if you insist upon studying anatomy, I suggest you do not sit on the aisle.
And, by the way, the character's name is Deborah, so by no small, you know, whatever, hearing Cary Grant say, oh, but Deborah, I love you, was okay for me.
Yeah, that works.
But the layers in this film, which are kind of subtle, they could be so cliche, but that he actually falls in love with her and that it's really believable is, you know, because it could have fallen into such a trap, but it's lovely that it doesn't.
Yeah, let's watch the film and then more afterwards with Debra Winger. From 1951, written and directed by Joe Mankiewicz, Cary Grant, Jean Crane, Walter Slasak. People Will Talk. Back with Debra Winger. Debra, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Debra's a three-time Best Actress nominee. One of the movies I just saw, Terms of Endearment, it remains as crushing and inspirational a movie I think as perhaps ever seen. It continues to deliver in the same way it always has. Shirley MacLaine's great. She won the Best Actress Oscar.
I'm going to call her and tell her you said that.
Jack Nicholson is Jack Nicholson, but it is anchored by your performance as Emma. So People Will Talk, the conducting scene at the end, which I found to be only there in its length because Joe Mankiewicz was the most powerful filmmaker in Hollywood.
Really? That's so funny because you're watching it from a completely different perspective than me, but yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that it was striking in its length. it was longer than I think probably anyone.
So as a producer, you would have said, you know,
I would have been curious.
Let's trim it up a little.
No, I'm sure I would have done what everybody did with Joe, which is let him do what he wanted. I mean, he's the filmmaker. He may know best. But the conducting and orchestra part, it was a peculiar mechanism to establish Grant's free expression to the extent that that's what it was. I don't even know.
Well, you remember the cutaway to Hume Cronin.
To me, to some extent, Hume Cronin was the studio bosses, and Cary Grant is Joe, being able to do whatever the hell he wants, right? And you can't. But there is, because it's Cary Grant, there is this unbelievable joy in him. And that's to me what saves it, because I don't know that I've ever seen Cary Grant smile that much for that long.
God, he was having a blast. I've never seen him more relaxed. I'm not like a diehard, gotta see everything Cary Grant does. I think he was an authentic original. There's just, and that is the reason a lot of people don't care for him. Oh, he always sounds the same. He doesn't play characters. But, I like actors for what they are, not what they should be. I mean, there are incredible actors that disappear into their roles, and there are actors that you kind of just want to see that person, in different clothes. And I think Cary Grant was one. But I feel because he seemed so happy and not tense, that he was expressing a side of that Cary Grant character that hadn't been expressed very often, or the combination, I should say. Maybe all those aspects had been in one film or another, but this seemed to bring them all together.
And so many great actors played some version of the same, it's not.
What he does is impossibly difficult.
Right. And also, that's the other thing is that, okay, great, if it was so easy, then how come literally no one else could do it as well?
No, the timing, and so the orchestra scene for me is a little aria inside of this opera where he's just so deft, and the friendship, which is essential to the story. His friendship with Walter Slezak and then with his guardian angel.
Finley Curry,
So those were such strong through lines in the movie, these male friendships.
Yeah, we mentioned that Joe managed to write this deftly enough so that the board allowed us to root for a character who had a child out of wedlock. She goes to great, rather difficult to believe lengths to say that she believed she was in love.
She tries to kill herself.
With him. And then, of course, and the other one is that she tried to kill herself. Which
Gosh, you have to have a lot of trigger warnings on this, I guess.
That's right, But that stayed in. And they, and that again was, the great Ernst Lubitsch used to figure out ways to get past the Hollywood censors, and Joe had a way of managing it as well.
Well, thank goodness my other choice is before the Hays Code, right?
So. Oh, that's right, the Scarlet Empress, right, when they didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. Deborah, thanks very much.
Thank you.
And The Scarlet Empress is the next film Deborah and I will be presenting tonight. Directed by Joseph von Sternberg, starring Marlene Dietrich. It is next on Turner Classic Movies. I'm back with Debra Winger, my new friend. It's been so great to finally meet you. I've admired you for some time. Three-time nominee for Best Actress for the Academy Award.
How would anyone introduce me if I didn't get those? God, thank God.
No one would ever have you do anything. You'd be forgotten. You'd be history.
Just Deborah.
Dustbins of history. No. But it's look, this is Turner Classic Movies. It's a big deal. Like maybe you get lucky for one. Maybe, oh my God, because of the first ones you get three. Like, apparently your peers recognize greatness. Deborah's here to program a double feature. We just had People Will Talk, directed by my great uncle Joe Mankiewicz, written and directed by Joe in 1951. Up next, we go Pre-Code with a Joseph von Sternberg film with Marlene Dietrich, The Scarlet Empress. This is largely the retelling, which is true enough, certainly true enough for Hollywood, of how Catherine the Great came from being a princess in Prussia to becoming empress. Why did you pick The Scarlet Empress?
It's been on my list for years and years. I think...
Your list of movies you love?
Say top 20, whatever. Right. But also just, it's mostly by way of Joseph von Sternberg. Most of his films up until this one are much more well-known. This one, I take it, was not successful at the time. Which doesn't surprise
No, this was coming at the tail end of his
thing with his
relationship
run with
his muse, Marlene Dietrich.
Of course, she's Marlene Dietrich. That's why I wanted to clarify. I come to it by way of him. it hits me the same way as Preston Sturges does, sort of the unexpected political statement underneath sometimes a ridiculous setup, you know, and always humor. And in this one, kind of over-the-top performances. I mean, Sam Jaffe is just out there.
Sam Jaffe plays Peter the Great, and it's one of my favorite performances of a bonkers leader.
Right here, gentlemen. What a lovely target. You're looking quite well, Catherine.
What I really found important about Jaffe's portrayal was that he never even tried to get you to like him.
No.
Or to feel sorry for him, or to take pity on him. And then this woman comes in, and she is very innocent in the beginning, but she totally, takes advantage of him and then becomes Catherine the Great. But I guess I respond to a lot of these classic films because there's just less winking.
Yes, and some really solid performances in addition to the main cast we mentioned Sam Jaffe, who I really think is really wonderful. And then Louise Dresser as the Empress, as Peter's mother. She's phenomenal. And then John Lodge as the sexy and charming Count Alexei, who, by the way, busts some stereotypes because he doesn't exactly get what he wants.
Kind of the Joseph von Sternberg character. I mean, he has this undying...
That's right, undying love for her.
And nothing will change it. I think someone like that, and I didn't know their relationship, almost marvels in her control of men and her ability to mesmerize them. And I mean, I was lucky enough in the beginning to have a mentor that held me up in a way that I had never been given as a young girl or a young woman, sort of helped me understand the power of being a woman.
Who was this person?
James Bridges.
Oh, James Bridges, who directed
Urban Cowboy and Mike's Murder. And we also loved each other. I mean, he's the godfather of my oldest son, and it was a love affair without the physicality.
Yeah.
But I just feel that that message to a woman and an actress is, and it can be given by another woman or a man, it doesn't matter. It's just somebody, some way of looking at you that says, I'm gonna be able to make this aspect of your being likable. You don't have to be afraid of this aspect of your being.
Yeah. Debra, thank you. Let's watch the film. It's not long, and we'll talk about more afterwards. Here it is, from Paramount in 1934, directed by Joseph von Sternberg, Marlene Dietrich leading the cast of The Scarlet Empress. Back with Debra Winger. Debra, thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
She programmed tonight's double feature, which started with People Will Talk. We just saw The Scarlet Empress. I believe you touched on it earlier, but why did you pair these two films? And by the way, our rules were the answer could be, I liked both of them.
Well, that is true, goes without saying, but I just felt like both of them exemplified aspects of, things we're living through right now.
We talked some about your upbringing, and I'm surprised to hear that movies were not a part of your life as a kid. And you must have seen some, but it wasn't a big deal.
No, I did not see many films. I mean, we were a family, both my parents worked, struggled. We were not well-to-do at all. They worked long hours, so the television was our life. And so I saw things on TV.
So when you'd see a movie, it was because it was on television?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember being in a theater at an early age.
Do you remember what you saw, or whenever as a teenager in your early 20s, where you thought, oh my goodness?
It was Claire's Knee and then Wild Strawberries.
Really?
Those were the two that I guess maybe in a way because they weren't catchy or big movies. And I thought, wow, you can do that?
These movies were independent, foreign, and certainly not mainstream Hollywood hits. Not like you went to Planet of the Apes and thought, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Never. And isn't it funny? Because mainstream films were never my thing. They still aren't. And yet I made them. As
you watch some of these movies on TV, do you remember, was there a particular actor or actress that struck you as, oh, that person is
I do
very
remember
good at this?
seeing Of Human Bondage and thinking, why not do that?
That Bette Davis knows what she's doing?
Yeah.
So Bette Davis, you must know this, said, I can see a great deal of myself in Debra Winger, who has already acquired a reputation for being difficult because she cares about the project. Well, but Betty had that. I mean, look, let's not pretend that some of that, and I don't care how you were or whether it's true or not even, because...
Of course it's true for the people that struggled with me.
Sure, but there have been men who've been described as difficult, but I mean, it's 10 to 1 women and men who are described that way.
But excuse me, in a man, it's an attribute.
I'm saying most of the time it's an
intense.
attribute. For a man to be described as difficult, he has to, like, choke someone on the set, right?
No, he's called intense, and it's a devotion. And, you know, I've said this before, so at the risk of being redundant, but I think it's probably been years, but I think I've said it in print, that a man at that time, you know, if De Niro or Dan Day-Lewis stayed in their trailer because they weren't quite ready or, you know, needed something a certain way or wanted to be called something. It was intensity, and it was to be held up, and it was proof that they were committed. And when a woman did that, you know, well, I can't say it on TV, but...
We know how that sentence ends. But it must, I hope, mean something to you that Bette Davis, who was intense and performed when she was ready and then delivered amazing performance after amazing performance, one of the greatest actors to ever live, recognized in you.
It was very generous of her to say that, and gracious. I can't begin to understand, except that now I look at young actresses, and there are some, when they come along, I go, or singers, I just go, that. It's a quality of, I don't know, what, I get a little scared. I want to be a little scared.
For them?
No.
Of them?
Yes, like I don't know what they're going to do next. Because that's what I like in a male actor. Why wouldn't I like that in a female? A fierceness that I think women are just afraid of. You know, a lot of, I think it's because of the business too. We have to pull back on that or put a spin on it, or as I say, wink.
Yeah. Debra Winger, I could have done this for hours and hours.
I had fun too, so we'll do it again.
You're the best. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, we will do it again. Debra's done for the night, but the movies, of course, continue here on TCM, as always, uncut and commercial-free, so stick around.